hate to break the fishing news up, Yaremchuk, but I'd like to speak about the ice hockey.
Congratulations, you're one of the 13 listeners of the Real Life Podcast.
We just traded a migraine in for like an orgasm.
Might want to mark that down, Yaremchuk.
Yep.
All of my projects are on schedule until they're not.
A member of the Nation Network of Podcasts.
About as funny as we're going to get today.
A beautiful Thursday? Yeah, it's Thursday. Thursday in Edmonton. The sun is shining. This is the Real Life Podcast. I'm Tyler Yaremchuk. Jay's here. Wanye's here. Bagged Milk is here. Chalmers is building some sort of mall in Victoria, and that isn't a joke. That's actually what he's doing. So he's still not here this week. He'll be back soon. This is episode 204 of the Real Life Podcast, as always, brought to you by Japa Machinery, 815s, Packers, asphalt rollers, excavators, and more. They got you covered. All their rental equipment, it's clean, it's sanitized, no COVID here. It's newer, and it's serviced by Japa's fantastic team of heavy-duty mechanics. Like I said, episode 204 of the podcast, and my question, and I think I'm going to direct this at Bagged Milk, how many podcasts do they say you need to play until you know what you have?
You know what? I can't judge a player until he's either retired or dead. That's the rule.
Wow.
I must say, for those who didn't catch it, Bagged Milk doing the lookup on Stauffer of tweets where he said you need 300 games to know what you have as a defenseman, and then Stauffer saying, well, it's actually 400 now. And then you also tweeted him in response to his Alish Hemsky tweet and said, I loved him when he played 500 games. I was dying.
Well, listen, inflation is a problem, and if you don't prepare for it, it'll creep up on you.
Well, embrace yourself. It's actually going to be coming, and that's just some real talk right there. But anyways, back to the real life. Inflation? Well, how's it not going to come? We're deficit spending like crazy. The only way to get yourself out of that is through inflation.
Fantastic. A liter of Coke is $400.
But it's not going to happen anytime soon, but it's coming.
As an average person, just a working class citizen, why should I be concerned about that? Because like gas is going to go up and shit?
Yeah, interest rates will go up. Everything will go up because our money's going to be not worth as much. Unless, the thing is, it's a pandemic, though. So it might be a collective reset. I still can't, figure it out. But, traditionally, if a government deficit spends like crazy, what they'll do is they'll let inflation take in and pay with inflated dollars on old dollars, which is like buying debt, paying off debt at with 2 to 1, 3 to 1 dollars. So that's normally what they do to pay down their debt faster if they accumulated a giant one. But who knows? It's a pandemic. The stock market's the highest it's ever been. So what the fuck do I know?
Are you saying that the United States doubling their aggregate debt could have monetary policy impacts?
Of course. I took a microeconomics class at NAIT to know all that. But,
yeah, I took the same one, a micro and a macro.
I was told to leave halfway through the semester of economics, and even I know this is bad.
What blows my mind is the states announced that the economy's contracted 32%. I go and check the Dow that day; it's up 300 points.
They said the economy contracted 32%.
Yeah.
When did they say this?
I read something yesterday.
Oh, marvelous. Marvelous. Well, yeah, Yaremchuk, to your question, this is all very bad for the average workaday Joe like us.
Thankfully, we keep all our money buried in the backyard, don't we, Tyler?
Yes, I bought a new couch. I ripped out all the cushions, and I just sit on $5 and $10 bills all day.
Gangster.
It's the only way to trust it.
Well, just so you know, that money is going to be becoming worth less and less if you keep it there. Just some real talk.
Make sure to buy a low-cost index fund.
Here's what you do. You go buy pork bellies, Yaremchuk. You go buy pork bellies. You take all your money, you put it into pork belly futures, call your Uncle Wanya in 36 months, you'll be all right.
Turn it into real things.
Maybe next Monday I'll just completely disclose my financial records and you guys tell me what to do with my savings.
Yeah, if you could possibly tell us your social insurance number, that would be helpful.
Post your personal net worth statement on Nation Real Life Instagram. We'll collectively digest it, and we will have a financial plan that will allow you to retire at 173.
Now, my financial disclosure document would be my strategy for winning at 50-50. Is that okay to include that?
You still might be a winner.
Hey,
what? Did nobody claim the big boys?
I don't think they've announced the winner yet.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
They're just.
I was just going to ask because I basically, when the Oilers lost on Friday, I basically walked into a river for 4 days and didn't poke my head out. So I was actually curious about the 50-50. I see that there is no winner yet.
Yeah, it was you, but then you didn't come forward, and I said you probably didn't care, and then they put it back into the pot.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was like, Bag Milk? Oh, he doesn't need money where he is. He's on Shame Island that he put himself on.
That's right.
How are you feeling, Bag Milk? Are you still angry? How are you feeling about the Oilers?
Yeah, let's get into this because as Jay said before we started recording, we kind of let the Oilers off the hook a little bit in our criticism of them. So Bagged Milk, you weren't here, so spark us a little. Give us some juice.
I mean, where to begin? I'm annoyed by everything. I'm annoyed that the Oilers came out flat. I'm annoyed that they didn't look like they had hatred in their hearts for the Chicago Blackhawks. I'm annoyed with the goaltending that didn't step up when they needed it. I'm annoyed with the depth scoring that didn't step up when they needed it. I'm annoyed with the fucking criticisms of McDavid and Draisaitl that are happening now, just as they do every summer when things go wrong. I'm annoyed with people saying that Connor's going to want out. I'm annoyed with it all, Tyler. So where do you want to start? Because quite frankly, that series was so angry.
Well, let me start with the McDavid Draisaitl stuff because I think that's low-hanging, lazy bullshit. Like, I just can't fucking get over people sitting there being like, well, the Oilers are never going to go far in the playoffs until these two guys figure out how to play in their own end. They combined for 15 points in 4 games. The two of them helped create 15 goals in 4 games. Yet
they did their part.
Yeah, and people want to look at 2 missed coverages in different games in the defensive zone and shrug and go, well, at least now we know why they're losing. That would be, the analogy I'm using is, let's say you bought a car, and this car gets you through countless snowstorms, and there are never any problems with this car. It is perfect. The heating works great. You get it up to 250,000 kilometers, and then there's a problem. And you got to take it in and you got to get it fixed. Would you sit there and be like, man, this car was a piece of shit? Or would you be like, damn, this car did so much good, and it's really the only reason I got it around for the last 10 years? I'm going to give it some love. Like, that's what it should be with Draisaitl and McDavid. We should be sitting there going, fuck, the Oilers would have gotten blown out in every single game. They wouldn't have scored more than 1 goal on Corey Crawford if Draisaitl and McDavid weren't playing as good as they were. So I think people coming out and attacking them for their defensive zone play are just, they're fucking lazy and it's irresponsible.
Well,
I'll tell you what. I
gotta come to the defense, Bagnall. I gotta come to the defense. No, I gotta come to the Oilers have officially not made the playoffs 13 of the last 14 years.
They're technically a playoff team this year.
Okay, but they didn't make it into the Stanley Cup playoffs. So they've technically also not made the playoffs that 13, 14 years. I don't think it's fair to shit on McDavid and Draisaitl because you're right. They had 15 fucking points. And if they didn't, it would be even more embarrassing. But at the same time, I can understand why people are mad and they just want to cling on something to be mad to because the Oilers haven't made the playoffs in 13 of 14 years. So we're fucking mad.
But then you got to look like this isn't golf we're talking about. This is a 23-man roster, and to point your finger at 2 players and be like, "You guys need to be better defensively," it doesn't make any fucking sense.
I agree.
They can't play 60 minutes. This isn't basketball. LeBron's not coming to save the day here. So like they need a better, like the whole team needs to be better. Like why are there not articles coming out about Zach Kassian going like, "Hey bro, you just signed a 4-year extension. Where the fuck were you?"
Here's my thing with Zach Kassian.
Where the fuck was Zach Kassian? Where was he? Was he playing?
As an Oiler, when has Zach Kassian played his best hockey? And this is what pisses me off. In 2017, he was lights out, played great, was the heartbeat of this team on that playoff run. It was a contract year. Where was Zach Kassian last season? About to get traded. Where was Zach Kassian at the beginning of this season? Lights out, some of the best hockey we've ever seen him play. What was it? Contract year. What did the Oilers give him? A new contract. What happened after Kassian got that new contract? He got suspended twice and then completely fell off the fucking map in a playoff series, which is when he's supposed to be earning these big dollars. So Kassian, that drives me nuts, man, and I'm worried.
And it drives me nuts too because it drives me nuts too because there was, and again, and I'm going to give Ken Holland a little bit benefit of the doubt here because none of us saw the pandemic coming. Granted, we were all on the same page there, but there was no need to sign Zach Kassian in the middle of the season either. No. So now he's got a massive contract tying up a bunch of cap space going into a future where the cap is flat and they've got bigger fish to fry than Zach Kassian. And it's annoying. and to go back to the original point and point fingers at Connor and Leon, yes, they can be better defensively, and they probably will be going into next year. You know this pissed them off. But again, this isn't golf. Two players cannot win a playoff series. They need more than two guys, and I'm throwing Nuge in there too because he had to find he produced points as well.
Yeah.
But it's hard to build a house when you got 3 nails and a handful of jelly beans. It just doesn't work.
I've been eating jelly beans so far through this whole podcast.
They are delicious.
A whole bowl of them here.
Oh, my crush is peanut M&Ms.
Oh, I love
stress
peanut
eating.
M&Ms.
Oh, God.
I love peanut M&Ms. And another thing that's bothering me too is I'm playing around on Twitter and I'm looking around and people are going, "Wow, look at what Yzerman did when the Detroit Red Wings won the Stanley Cup." So I wrote about it today at OilersNation.com. It's up. I'm like, okay, Yzerman did sacrifice some points, no problem. But let's look at the roster for the 2002 Detroit Red Wings that won the Stanley Cup. They had fucking 9 Hall of Famers on that team.
They didn't start winning. They didn't start winning Stanley Cups until they got Nick Lidstrom.
And
on that team, the 2002. So that was their last. That was their last cup that they got in recent history. They had Sergei Fedorov, Brett Hull, Nick Lidstrom, Luke Robitaille, Brendan Shanahan, Pavel Datsyuk, Dominic Hasek, Chris Chelios, and Steve Yzerman. So, okay, let's add 7 more Hall of Famers to Connor and Leon's roster, and they'll probably be a little better.
And here's the other thing. Read me the save percentages and goals against averages of Chris Osgood and Dominic Hasek in the years that the Red Wings were winning cups, because they were probably a lot better than 867 and 880 or whatever the fuck the Oilers.
I've got it for you, Tyler.
There you go. Give me these.
Dominic Hasek in 2002, his save percentage was .925 in the playoffs.
I don't know, Bag Milk. I don't know if Dominic Hasek is the answer, man. I haven't seen him in a while. He's pretty old.
Well, that's true. That is true. He is pretty
I don't know
old.
if
And, you know what? Bringing him back in.
Yeah, 2020. He might have lost the stuff.
But you know what?
It's worth giving him a try, you know?
It is the Oilers' philosophy to just bring people well beyond their prime to try to fix our solution. Look at our executive level. Hey.
Ken Howland.
Well, let's be fucking real. Like, this is fucking bullshit. How the hell can we not show up to the playoffs? Yeah. How can we not do it? Like, how do we not show up? We did not show up.
The other
thing, kind of showed up against the Flames in the Flames game, but like that, like who gives a fuck? Like there was more hits by us in that Flames exhibition game than there was in the entire playoff series against Chicago.
And the other thing I wanted to say, like just in regards to the goaltending, it seems like everyone wants to give them a free pass because there wasn't a game where there was like egregious weak goals left and right. But in that qualifying round, out of all of the NHL, there were 4 games where a team gave up 3 goals and still lost in regulation. The Oilers or the Blackhawks did it twice. The Blackhawks was half of that. The Oilers were the other one, and then one of them was the Yotes. So it's just the goaltending, I think, is almost getting too much of a free pass as well from some people because every other team, Jonas Korpisalo made like 100 saves the other day to keep his team in that hockey game. Every other team gets their goalie to bail them out 6-7 times a game, and the Oilers make one mistake. They lose coverage once in the defensive zone. They don't get one puck out, and it's a fucking tire fire, and it's in the back of their net every time.
Well, listen.
But there was a lot of not getting the puck out. There was a lot of that.
1,000%. But you know what? If Connor and Leon could figure out how to make glove save every now and then, maybe this wouldn't happen.
Well, yeah.
Like, fuck me. How do you, like, that 1-7-hole goal, I can't remember which fucking game it was. I think we even won the game. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Like, it's,
like,
everything was a letdown.
I was watching.
And the other thing I noticed, were we even prepared? Were we even prepared to play for this? Like, I'm watching the Blackhawks constantly, obviously prepared, picking off or disrupting our back pass that we always do on the power play because they were prepared for it. What the fuck were we doing? We weren't prepared for anything. Did we forget that Kubalik is a fucking sniper? Like, we just like let them do their thing and just like we just didn't try to adjust. Where was the adjustment? Like I love Tiff, but like how come there was no adjusting? We did no adjusting.
It is funny that you say that though, because I was cruising the nation some of the content over the past few days while I was away, and and the Fire Tippett comments are coming out in the comment section. And
you can't do that. I still believe in them, but like I just like it's just like a collective like we missed on everything. Like fuck, like why didn't we just play Patrick Russell? You know you're going to get an effort out of it if he's going to try to hit some. I would have taken Cassian out and put Russell in because Cassian was such a non-event.
It's like when they put Haas in for Game 4. He was good. And
Yeah, he looked fine.
the best 7, Dave Tippett was basically the exact same with his lines and pairings throughout the series, unless there was an injury. And then when did things get better? The last 7 minutes of the elimination game when he jumbled up the lines and went back to the to the Nugent Hopkins Yamamoto Draisaitl line, put Cassian back up with McDavid, started playing Clefbaum a little bit more. Like everything that we were basically yelling for him to do for 2 games that they lost, he did it for the last 7 minutes and they showed a heartbeat.
You know what else I'm mad at? I got another thing I'm mad at. I drink the Kool-Aid. I do it professionally, but I really try to believe that it's not Kool-Aid. So the whole fucking media narrative of training camp, of the Oilers are pushing the pace, they're skating so hard, they're practicing so hard. I was fucking drinking that. You know what that is? You know what that was? That was oil change 2.0 is what all that shit was. That was just like them trying to serve up Eric Belanger wanting a 4th year on his deal because he believes in what we're doing. He believes in what we're doing. Did it to me again. Those motherfuckers.
I love that spin of Eric Belanger, or of them giving Eric Belanger an extra year because he wanted it and wanted to be here longer. Like what? That doesn't even make sense. Like,
but I was to your point about goaltending, Tyler. Like I watched a lot of the Montreal-Pittsburgh series.
Yeah.
And there were plenty of times when you could watch that game and be like, oh, man, if it wasn't for Carey Price, this would be going a different way. And the Oilers did not have anything close to that level of goaltending.
No, not at all.
No.
So does anyone think Mike Smith's back next year?
I mean, probably, because it's the fucking Oilers we're talking about.
Man, it depends. It all depends, like, who you can try to get. Like, fuck, we need a fucking stud. I really hope that Russian guy we got last year, years ago, is legit. Like, we just need it. It's not even like exemplary. We don't need Carey Price goaltending. We just need like mid-level goaltending and like consistent.
Listen, Mike Smith played 610 NHL games. We're just finally figuring out what he is. So maybe he comes back for his 2nd year.
I like the heart, and I wanted him to start. I believed in all of it, but he didn't play that well. We didn't necessarily play that well in front of him. We gave up a lead with like 3 minutes left. Like a fucking winning team wins that game.
Yeah.
Like there's just so many little things that we almost won that series playing as shitty as we did. That's how bad Chicago is. And we're going to quickly find out. The Vegas Golden Knights is quickly going to humble the Blackhawks and just further embarrass our performance even more.
They made them look pretty bad in game 1 of that series. The Knights did to the Hawks, and what
was our season series against the Golden Knights? What were we, like 2-1
or something like that? Yeah, it wasn't a runaway like it was in that game 1 of that series. But yeah, and the last thing I'll say, I'm not one to be overly optimistic about this kind of stuff. I'm trying to change. Ken Holland touched on this a little bit in his press conference, which there was a hilarious part of that press conference as well. But Holland kind of said, there's a lot more disappointment than there are good years. Like even look at a Red Wings dynasty. There were still years where they lost. So I think sometimes what good organizations do is they don't freak the hell out over one bad series. The Tampa Bay Lightning didn't freak out when they got swept by Columbus last season. I think there's an element of being able to look at the bigger picture, which was in the last year, a lot of really good things have happened. Kyler Yamamoto's become a top 6 winger. Ethan Bear is a top 4 defenseman. Philip Broberg had a great camp. It looks like he's going to be a real good player for them. Evan Bouchard's probably going to be a real good player for them. Leon Draisaitl is an MVP candidate, which he certainly was not 12 months ago. So I think there's a lot of good here. Oscar Klefbom, when he's healthy, I still say he's a legitimate top-pairing D-man, a top 20 D-man in the league. So I think they just need to be careful not to blow this thing up because of one bad series, right?
Well, what's a fair enough window of time to be able to look at and be like, okay, yes, ups and downs, but like, how much time would how many seasons would you need to look at to determine if this chunk of time was good or bad?
I think you set yourself up for failure if you set deadlines like that. Like, look at the Washington Capitals. Every year it was they lose to Pittsburgh, early exit, swept by this team in the second round. They couldn't figure it out, but they never traded Holtby, they never traded Backstrom, they never traded Ovechkin. They held on to that core and just said they just kind of trusted that eventually it's going to work and it's going to happen. And
did they miss the playoffs 13 out of 14 years with those guys?
No, and that's where it's a little bit different for the Oilers. But I still think you need to look at the core of this team, and it's Clefbaum, it's Nugent Hopkins, Draisaitl, McDavid, and you need to kind of go like they're not the problem. The problem is we aren't putting a good enough team around them.
Well, here's the thing. Going into that series, like I don't care if we got into the first round and lost. That to me would have been a mild success. But on paper, all of the experts, myself not included, I'm a professional Kool-Aid drinker, were saying the Oilers should beat the Blackhawks because of the roster makeup.
They should have.
Because, our D is actually, somewhat deep. Koskinen is somewhat consistent. We've got firepower. Well, we went out there and just laid a fucking egg. Our hired guns did exactly what they were supposed to do, and then that was it. No one else showed up. Like, I cannot believe, like, Jujar wasn't assertive, Zach Kassian wasn't assertive, Archibald tried to be assertive, but it was a clear, blatant penalty, and that put us behind. Don't even get me started on the fucking penalties. That's just because we're lazy. Like, that was an absolute 0 out of 10 effort.
So what do you want to see?
Aside from Draisaitl.
How do you want this team to be different from now until December when the season starts up?
I liked our roster. Just compete. Like there was no where was the compete?
I think they need clear upgrades.
Where do you think
Clearly, I agree we need upgrades, but we should have beat Chicago. Is what I'm saying. Like I don't mind the roster. I was fucking buying the narrative I was being told to buy, thinking that we've addressed some things and our third line is good and our fourth line now with Neil and Chase on is going to be fucking dynamic. Like
to me, this is like this roster, and there was upgrades over last season. Like I'm not saying there wasn't, but it's also like Ken Holland still walking to the toy aisle with his bucket of sawdust because Peter Chiarelli vomited all over the place. That's a big mess.
He hasn't had much time. I'm very interested to see what Uncle Ken does in this offseason.
Well, and he has no money to spend, so that's why things like the Kassian deal hurt. I don't know. People are really high on Darnell Nurse, and I don't know if I'm really there.
I don't see it.
Sell high.
I mean, like, I know he's still got 200 games left to find out if he's a Hall of Famer or not, but I just don't see it. I don't see it for the money. And it's a short-term bridge deal. I just can't see it getting any cheaper. What are we doing here?
Yeah, I think if you give me the choice between Clefbaum and Nurse, I'm taking Clefbaum, partly because he's a better player, and also his contract is 3 more years at a bargain. Darnell Nurse is 2 more years at $1.5 million more, and he's going to require a big deal when he's a UFA. The one substantial trade I look at is trading Darnell Nurse for a winger. And
William Nylander, man.
Yeah, like if you can get Toronto to do that deal for you, and you get a guy like Nylander who's going to ride and score 30 with McDavid next season. I know his contract isn't great, but neither is Nurse's.
$6.9 million for a guy that could score 35 goals with McDavid?
And also, that would be Darnell's old GM and old coach from the Sioux. So there's history there as well. So there's like a logical line you can draw between the two teams.
Would you be worried about how Connor McDavid feels about trading Darnell Nurse? Like, do you think McDavid is the type of guy who goes, don't trade Darnell, we need guys like that to win, he's my boy? Or do you think McDavid, if he heard that offer from Holland, would kind of go, do whatever you think is best for the team, I'm on board?
I think, like, Connor's got his boys, and Connor also has his drive to win. So I think if he feels that the trade actually makes the roster better, I can't see him saying no because he's my buddy. Because I think first and foremost, Connor McDavid wants to win. But the trade needs to make sense.
Yeah, see, like to me, that looking at that, it would be like Nurse plus something for William Nylander would make more sense to approach Connor with. And hey, Connor, what do you think about trading Drake Caggiula for Brandon Manning? Like, it's not the same. I think he would really have to think about it. But
history proved that Brandon Manning trade to be valuable. By the way, Bagno. Thank you.
That is true. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Everybody was against Brandon Manning, and Brandon Manning came here and proved to us why you would get Brandon Manning.
Of course.
Oh my God!
To embarrass the franchise.
Trey Caggiula would have been so good on our roster in the playoffs because he's a little prick.
But the Oilers also have a history of doing this kind of stuff, like lateral moves and downgrading. It's like, okay, we have Jeff Petrie, so we can trade Tom Gilbert. Oh, now we have Justin Schultz, so we can trade Jeff Petrie. And
we can't scrutinize any trade before we got McDavid because it all led to getting McDavid. We can only scrutinize the trade after McDavid.
Yeah, but it's not like
the very first trade, the fucking Griffin Reinhardt. What the fuck?
Yes.
Well, history also proved that to be correct.
Big Cat did help, yep.
Oh, yeah.
Wherever he's at these days.
Coolin Red Star.
He's playing with Neil Yakupov somewhere.
Didn't there, I don't know if I dreamt this or heard something. Is Yakupov missing?
That was me telling you that.
Okay.
Fucking, pardon, well, I can swear. It's my podcast, too. The guys on TSN, Noodles was saying that since he got traded for cash, they basically can't find him.
Oh, no.
Really?
Fuck, we should bring him back. He should be 97 shooter. Why not? The guy can
Why
shoot
not?
a puck.
First
He
pick
can shoot a
overall.
puck.
I still have the jersey.
He can shoot a puck. I know he doesn't have anything upstairs, but like as long as the other two guys in the line are good, McDavid will always find him. And if it's one thing Yakupov can do is shoot a puck.
Well, he hasn't reached his 500 games. We don't know what we're dealing with.
Nope.
Like I saw him absolutely snipe in St. Petersburg. I was like, good for you, Neil. I know he's
pop up as a SoundCloud rapper.
What's the funny thing in Holland's press conference?
Oh, Terry Jones asked him 5. So the Oilers are very specific on the Zoom call. They'll be like, use the raise hand function on Zoom, ask one question, and if there's multiple people in the Zoom chat, they say ask one question and say who your question is about. And Terry Jones cracks the mic for his and asked Ken Holland 4 questions. And Holland just sits there and looks into the camera like straight face and goes, I think you asked me 4 questions. I'm going to try answer them. And then he got to like 2 of them. So they went back to Terry Jones 10 minutes later and Terry Jones asked like 4 more again. And you could tell Holland was just looking at the camera being like, okay, I don't know where you want me to start or even go with this answer. It was hilarious.
That's just kind of how it goes though, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. It was described as a Russian doll question where every time Terry Jones ended one, he popped it off and revealed yet another question in there. But
the old nesting dolls.
I'm happy we got sort of 30 minutes of Oilers ranting off our chest because time flies when we do that stuff.
I got to see if I ticked all the things I had on my list here.
There is one more that I wanted to
What do you got?
off. Andreas Athanasiou. Would you want to see him back? Okay, I'll ask you the question after I outline what the situation here is with Athanasiou for those who may not be familiar with it. He's a pending RFA, restricted free agent. He is coming off a contract that was paying him $3 million a season. He got that contract after him and his agent had quite a notable standoff with Ken Holland while they were both in Detroit. Anyways, he gets a $3 million contract. As an RFA, the Oilers can qualify him, which means they are guaranteeing that next season he'll make over $3 million. They also run the risk of going to arbitration with him, which means he could make even more than $3 million, which I doubt. Or they could not qualify him. And if they don't qualify him, that gives them 2 options. Either he's going to walk as a UFA for free, or they can negotiate a 2 or 3 year deal at around $1.92 million. That gives Athanasiou some money. Still might be market value if he was an unrestricted free agent, and the Oilers get to keep the guy they gave up 2 seconds for. Would you want him back, I suppose, is the question I'm getting at here.
I'll just jump in. They said they got to find a way to make it work because you gave up 2 seconds to get him. He's not going to get. Let him go to arbitration. They're going to look, bro. You had 5 goals this year or whatever it was. You're not making
$5,000.
You're not making $3 million again. So I would try to get him on the 2-year 2 something and try to make it work because they're like the Oilers desperately need scoring depth. And personally, I know he didn't score in the playoffs. I get that. So don't at me. However, I would say he had plenty of chances, and I would say more so than a bunch of forwards on the roster. He had no luck, hit a couple of crossbars. That's just kind of the way it was, but he looked better in this stint as an Oiler than he did pre-break.
I agree.
You just gotta find if he just stayed engaged, the guy's got the tools. He is so fucking fast.
You're right.
And that's why it would just suck to have such a short window of him and then lose him because of. And like Ken Holland even said it. Zach Lang wrote a nice wrap up of the presser on Oilers Nation. It was Kevin Holland said, well, when we traded for him, this was kind of where we were looking for a salary cap number. Obviously, a global pandemic got in the way, and now we have to change our plans. So
there's a global pandemic?
I heard about it. I haven't seen it. I haven't left my house. But you got to find a way to make it work. There's other dead weight, in my opinion, on the team that needs to go before him. He can be useful.
Who's the deadest weight?
I would look at trading the Cowboy, and not because I don't like Chris Russell. I think that he's got balls of steel, will block a shot with his face. But he also makes $4 million on the cap, but only $1.5 million in real money. There are teams that would take that, in my opinion.
Florida, Ottawa. Basically find all the teams with super cheap owners, and that's who Chris Russell is going to go to. And he might have done them a huge favor by potentially being their best defenseman this playoff run, because his value may have never been higher. I think is the highest it's ever been.
If you know you're making the playoffs, you want Chris Russell because he's going to wear the puck.
And
we are going to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
but not when we have no cap space.
Yeah, I'm saying to trade to suitors. Yeah, Double A. If we can get him for $2 million,
yeah,
and 2 years. But if he believes in what we're doing, give him 3.
Good idea.
And it's. I think it's a worthy experiment. There's tools there. There's fucking tools there. Can Tippett refine the toolkit? Can he do it? Can he find it?
I would have Chase on the way out. I would have Kara on the way out. I think that's like
Kara. This was your chance. This was your chance to redeem yourself and just be a menace out there.
Happy birthday, by the way, Jujar.
I commented with many hammers on the Oilers post. I don't know if Jujar knows how to hit properly. He does not know how to hit guys to hurt them.
I think,
and I don't mean that headshot ways. I just mean heavy hits.
I think it's because he doesn't skate fast enough.
But he's a good skater. I don't know, man. I fucking wanted to love that guy so much.
Me too. But at $1.2 million, I say you ship him out. You sign Sheahan for $900K, and there's your fourth line center next year. The biggest needs for me, they need a better goalie to go with Koskinen, because I don't think you're moving Koskinen. You need a way better third line center. I'm looking at Max Domi out of Montreal, and I think that's a guy who they need to be going out and getting this summer or this offseason.
I hate Max Domi.
I love Max Domi.
Why do you hate him?
Know why?
Because those ads, I don't care. It's so weird.
He one-punched Ryan Kessler.
But he's got some sort of something.
On the bright side, at least we're still paying for Benoit Pouliot.
Oh, God.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. One more year at 1.3 in dead space there.
We should throw a party next summer when Pouliot's eventually off the books.
Where's he hitting with fucking Yak somewhere? Where's he at?
Yeah, he didn't play
I think they
so.
might be. I think he's filming a season of Off the Grid with Bear Grylls or something, because he is nowhere to be found in the world of hockey.
He's got a lot of money wherever he is.
Who are defensive UFAs? I'm looking right now. I just found it.
On the market this year? You know what?
I can get you, Jay, arguably one of the best defensemen on his team in the play-in for $1.5 million a year in actual money, $4 million against the cap.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
If you're interested, he's available.
Fuck. I don't know who you want.
You see, but the thing is, for the Oilers next year, if you keep Larson and you go Clefbaum, Larson, Nurse, Bear, and you focus on maybe upgrading your third pairing a little bit, but you trade Russell, you take that cap space, you flip it into a better goaltender, which is going to be a lot of money, but I think you got to do it because you need to find a solution between the pipes. And then on the blue line, I think you could probably run with Matt Benning and Caleb Jones, or if you really believe in Bouchard, maybe you trade Benning and get a real good third line center somehow. I don't know.
See, and I worry about,
I worry about depleting it too much.
Yeah,
I don't believe in Bouchard yet.
I also think that Adam Larson is going to be a problem next year, not because I have a problem with him as a player, but his back seems to be a real issue. And if he's just going to be in and out of the lineup, might spend some time on the injured reserve, coming back, not playing as well because of his back, maybe that's the guy you have to move, and it's more a product of circumstance necessarily than you don't like the player.
Yeah, maybe.
The sports is cold, motherfucker, man. Cold.
And that's where I feel with Benning, too, because I love having the Edmonton kid here. I think it's a great story. Him and his wife just had a kid. You want him to be an Oiler for life, but sports is cold, man. And if you're making $500K too much to be on the third pairing, you're done.
If we're
But you
looking
know
at
what?
cheap
He's
winger,
reliable.
Yes,
He's
he is.
reliable. So
Does
I
Tippett
think
trust
not
him?
to upset the apple cart too much. I think you have to try to get rid of. Well, you can't trust him in the top 4, but you can trust him in the bottom 3.
You
and
just
he's
talked about
reliable.
Petrie. He could be our current Jeff Petrie.
No, he's not. He's not
Yeah,
a
he's
Jeff
not- I
Petrie at
don't
all.
think
What do you
he's
mean?
okay.
A guy that we don't value, we throw him out with the fucking garbage. And
Yeah,
he
but-
turns out to have a long ass career somewhere else. He could be.
Petrie is actually good for us. It's just we sucked and
He
got
wasn't
scored
a
on.
1-2, and that's what we needed him to be. So we ran him out of town.
Yeah, so I think he's a safe bet to stay for us because we can rely on him. Like it's like Russell is a victim of his salary, so we have to try to move him. And Larson for that exact reason that if there's a market for him, and we know he's got a bad back, this is like the whole like Ryan Whitney bolt, but like bunk
It's a
ankle
reverse. Yeah, it's a reverse
situation,
Ryan.
right? Like what? Well, a reverse Ryan Whitney. Like, yeah, let's do what the Anaheim Ducks did to us. And get someone out who's having some back issues for someone younger or I don't know, whatever. But here's someone we could maybe get. I don't think he's that great. He's okay. He played for the Moose Jaw Warriors. I love him. Joel Edmondson.
He might cost
Well,
a bit, though.
And
He's
another
$3
thing
million
too,
right now. But
another
he might
thing
win the
too is
Stanley
what's
Cup
going to
this
be interesting with these with trying to make trades and whatever is it's not like the Oilers are the only team that are getting really kicked in the shins with this flat cap. Like I'm looking at puckpedia.com. The Bruins are borked. The Leafs are borked. There's just like there's a bunch of teams that are be like, oh shit. So it's I think we're actually in for a wild summer of player movement, and it's going to be really interesting to see how some of these teams navigate it.
I think you might see just like during this time a lot of 1-year deals being signed.
Well, yeah,
as well,
because teams
because
don't have
people-
money to spend on free agents, right? Like,
But that
That's
like the
what- like,
USA
so going-
market might have to accept that.
So going back to AA, like I would see if you can be like, hey, bro, you had a shit year. Are you willing to bet on yourself on a 1-year deal and see what happens? Or do they try to have to extend it a little bit? I don't know.
I'd say you probably go to a guy like that and you say, hey, the cap's going to be flat for 1, 2, or 2, maybe 3 years. And you go to him with a 2-year offer and a 3-year offer. And you say, where are you going to get a better chance as an offensive player to score a shitload of goals than on a team that has McDavid, Draisaitl, and Nugent Hopkins? And you give him a cheaper 2, 3-year deal and tell him, after this, the cap's going up and we can talk about a big money deal, or you're going to score so many goals that we can't afford you. And either way, that's a win for you.
Yeah, I agree. It's they got to do something. And like I would also look at, hey, Tyler Ennis, love you, bro. You're a hometown player. Probably be cheap. Maybe bring him back on a 1-year deal.
Yep.
Yep,
Add a little bit of depth scoring. You know what I mean? He talked about how happy he was to go to the playoffs for his hometown team. Well, hey, we'd
Do it
love to
again.
have you back, but
Do it again.
we're going to need to be cheap.
And that's where I think like you just need to find a way to pinch all your pennies, right? And that's where I was getting at with the Shahan for Kara thing. It might save you $250K. If you can go dump Chase on somewhere and you use that money to sign Ennis, maybe that's another $500K. And you just kind of find these little places throughout your roster where you can save yourself a little bit of money. Maybe it's trading Matt Benning, who has to be qualified at like 2.1, and you sign Mike Green for like $1.05. And you're okay, there's another $600K. Then eventually you find a way to just save $1 to $2 million. You go short term with Bear, saves you another $750K, right?
And then if they obviously this is beating a dead horse at this point. I can't believe we're still talking about it, but like maybe Jesse Puljujarvi does come back, and that's not going to cost you any money either. There's some more depth on the right side.
That would be
Holy
huge for
fuck!
us.
If we're waiting on Jesse Puljujarvi to come save the day, we are fucked.
No, agreed. Because we don't even know who that, like, what type of player he is yet. But that would be huge if you can bring him back and he's a cheap addition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I'm
It's
getting
a
at.
gamble. You don't know the output is unknown. But if he could come back and be mildly okay, then that would be awesome for us.
100%.
Because the reality is they need more players to chip in throughout the lineup. And, maybe on a cheap 1-year deal, 2-year deal with him, maybe that's somewhere in the bottom 6, middle 6. I don't know.
Let's pray Broberg has a good start to his SHL season and we bring him over in December.
I'd be all on board with that.
Anyways, Oilers pissed me off.
Yep. I'm glad we got that went up to 40 minutes of Oilers
Let's
ranting.
Let's
Well,
just
I
loop
had
back,
someone
Bang
text
Milk. You
me-
said something interesting that was confusing to me. There's a global pandemic.
I had heard that. I don't know. I haven't left my house, so I can't confirm either way. I look outside. The trees are still there. I'm here. Also, bright side, if you're looking for one, boys, I just won some money betting on the over on Nikita Kucherov shots on goal. Thank you.
How many is he at already?
I made a ton of money off Columbus beating Toronto.
I was actually thinking about you that day because I'm doing the beat cast after the Oilers lost, and I'm pissed off, and I'm just ranting. So I'm watching. I'm like, well, at least Toronto's going to get knocked out too. And then they came back. I was like, oh shit.
Good stuff.
But he's already got, to answer your question, he's already got 3 shots in the first period and a goal.
Do you have it in front of you? How many does Braden Point have?
Braden Point has 2 shots on goal.
Fuck yeah, he's one away from hitting that over. Let's go.
Another fine Moose Jaw Warrior product.
Oh, there's a
Degenerate
lot of them,
Bag Milk is at least having some fun in the playoffs, even if the Oilers aren't in.
Speaking of fantasy hockey, I suppose. I don't know. I was going to say betting on hockey, but there's no prizes in our Nation Podcast and Friends hockey pool. First place, we got a new leader. Nation Dan is leading the way at 162 total points. Jordan Buhat right behind him in second with 157. Jay's in the top 5, so is Rick. As we move our way down, not a great week for Wanye. He's slipped down to tied for 19th. Not that
all my Oilers are out.
Yeah. I'm in 28th. Bagged Milk is in 23rd, and there's only 29 people. Shout out to Jason Stixma, who's in dead last. He's getting the participation ribbon right now. Some other notables, we got Mimamoto is 12th. Brad Stepanko is tied for 9th. I think Surveyor Brett was in this, but I can't see him. Oh, there he is. He's closer to the bottom. Chalmers is close to the bottom, too. So
he chose all reps.
Our podcast.
That's what you call making a fantasy pool using your heart, you Remchuk.
Yeah. Our podcast is brought to you by Oodle Noodle. Win or lose, get your booze with Nation Beer. Win or lose, get your nudes with Oodle Noodle. I could go for some Oodle Noodle right now. As always, you guys do some great stuff for charities in the Edmonton area. It's been fantastic to see. Columbus is up 2-1. Hell yeah, sorry.
Yes, Columbus.
I got the game on in the background here. But who's the charity this week for Oodle Noodle?
You Can Youth Services. So they work with, troubled youth kind of get back on their feet and employed. So we got a tour of their facility last week. Yeah, no, they're doing great things. You should watch the video we shot. I caught myself. It was kind of fucked up and funny, but watch this week's video. Josh made fun of me for clapping too much, so I just fucking leaned in on it.
There was a lot of clapping in the beginning, I noticed.
Yeah, that was the video was starting like that, and then I was just thinking like this is too silly, so I stopped it. And Josh was like, "No, we got to include that." I'm like, "All right, you're the smart guy," and that's what you got. But I thought it actually turned out funny. So
go ahead.
No,
you're talking nudes. I got super excited when I saw that location 14 is open in my hood.
You got to go check out Bag Milk. We need your report.
Well, I am a veteran of the West End, so I will give a honest and thorough review.
Excellent. Thank you.
All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit. I have a hilarious story out of the NFL. Oh, okay, actually, what do you guys want first? I'll let you pick. Do you want the funny story out of the NFL, or do you want the update on me and my Words with Friends girlfriend?
Mystery box.
Okay, we'll go with the Words with Friends one. It'll be quicker. The Words with Friends one will be quicker.
There is no mystery box.
So as you remember, a few podcasts ago, I told you the story of Leah. She was an old lady. I'd say it looks like she's probably in her 70s-ish. And we got randomly paired up on Words with Friends. Just you pick random start game. We got paired up. We were similar skill levels, so it kind of made sense. And after a while, we played 2 or 3 games, and she started messaging me. See, there's a little message function on the app. And she just said stuff like, hi, hello, how are you? And I did not want any of that. I was like, I'm not responding to this lady. I don't want to start. I just want to play Words with Friends with someone. So we go, we're chatting, blah, blah, blah. Eventually, the messages got cute. Weird. They did get cute. She started calling me cute, telling me I looked nice, like all this weird stuff. So I just never responded, right? That went on for like 2 months.
But kept playing.
You kept playing her because she responds real quickly. I'm assuming she's retired. So whenever I fire a game back, she's quick to respond.
So you're mad, but you're not mad enough to stop playing.
Well, I'm not mad. I'm just a lot bit creeped out at the whole situation. But I like
because it's easy in mid-game to end the game.
I know, but then I would have no one to consistently play Words with Friends with about. I don't have actual friends. That's the issue.
Right,
so
carry on.
Here's where the story gets real weird. So she always messages me and is like, how come you won't respond? And I do not respond. We're playing, and This was about 3 weeks ago now. She messages me and goes, "Are you ever going to respond to me?" And I was like, oh boy.
Oh.
And she goes, guess not. Bye then. And ended both of our games of Words with Friends and removed me.
Oh,
You broke her heart.
Good for her. No, she stood up for what she believed in. She was getting led along by your Remchuk all the time, and finally she had enough.
So 3-4 days goes by. I'm a little bit bummed out because I'm like, oh man, I don't have anyone to consistently play Words with Friends with. And then I get a notification on my phone. Leah R has invited you to play. She came back after 4 days.
Oh, she can't quit you.
Oh, you played it cool, and she came back.
So,
wow, there's so many lessons to learn from this.
She came back here. I'm not going to post it on socials because that's weird, but I'll send you guys like a screenshot of what our chat looks like right now.
Are you talking?
No, I still don't respond. It's so fucking funny, man. And like, I kind of feel bad, but like, I'm sticking to my guns here. Like, I don't want to have conversations with strangers. So yeah, like the conversation I just sent you guys, you can kind of see her face up in the top there. And she goes, "Hi." That's the breakup. You can see the timeline of the breakup.
Oh, send it to the group chat. Oh,
I just did. So her last two were good night,
she
Tyler.
She Heath Ledgered you. She just doesn't know how to quit you, you know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
she apologized for playing a triple word, and I think the word was like boner. It was super weird. Yeah, so that's the update on my Words with Friends girlfriend. We are back to playing 2 games at a time, and we have a good time.
Does Mrs. Uremchuk know about Words with Friends, Mrs. Uremchuk?
Yeah, Amber definitely knows about it. She thinks it's super creepy, and she's happy I don't respond. And when I told her I was really sad that Leah deleted me, she just kind of rolled her eyes and was like, "Shut up."
Were you like, now I'm down to one girlfriend?
It was very upsetting. I do refer to Leah as my other girlfriend, and I like doing it
I
when
like
there's...
I like that she calls you T.
Yeah, she like has nicknames for me and everything, man. It's super weird. But when there's people around who don't know, I like going up to Amber and be like, "Hey, my other girlfriend just messaged me." And people would be like, "What?" And I'll be like, "Yeah, don't worry. It's a 70-year-old I don't know. She wished me a happy 4th of July." I was like, I was about to respond and be like, "I'm not American, but thanks." So I don't know. Maybe for podcast content, I'll start to respond. But I think I'm still a far ways away from that.
Let's see how far you can take this.
I think what's actually happening is that you're scared to fall in love.
Yeah, I think you're right, Bag Milk. I think you're right.
I think that you're just playing hard to get.
You're getting catfish.
My sister had a great scenario of like one day, like 20 years from now, I'm going to get a letter in the mail and she's going to have
baby's
like...
yours?
She's going to have me like written into her will and I'm going to get a check for like $80,000 from her.
That'd be nice.
And the note will just be like, "Hey T," or like something super weird. And I'll be like, "Oh my God.
To my beloved T."
Yeah. Thanks for all the
died 8 points.
Do you think she dead for 4 points? Do you think she talks about me as much as I talk about her?
No, I think she's like, what a weird kid. And you're like, what a weird lady. Anyways, this is exciting. 12,000.
No. She's calm. She's bringing in her ladies at bridge and pulling them on what she should say next to try to get a reaction.
Yeah, they're like, just leave him. Just leave him. He'll take you back if you leave him.
Yeah, so she finally listened. Cold as ice.
All right, we only have do you want to tell your alley update, Jay?
I've actually got enough worthy of an update. So where we last had it at was Stepanko's lent us a trail cam. We started surveilling the area. We kept kind of missing how this was happening. Food kept showing up, but less sporadic. And then all of a sudden, through our surveillance, we were able to isolate it to this like Ford Flex, this black like Ford Flex that would not Flex. It's not square enough. Doesn't matter. It's a car. The black car. It would pull up right to the pole and then drive away. And we thought it was this car. And then all of a sudden, for like a month, food did not show up at all. And we're like, okay, well, I think, judging by this, like the Inglewood Facebook group that we're a part of, where we kind of put a message saying, like, we're getting all this food in the alley. Does anyone know about this? And they're like, oh, yeah, no, we're well aware of this lady. She's been made aware to the authorities. It's kind of caught up in the court system because of COVID. So we kind of don't know. Yeah, I know. We kind of don't know what's going on. We're like, oh, okay, weird. So during this time, we're not seeing anything. Now, all of a sudden, like 2 weeks ago, we just randomly start seeing Tupperware full of water where the food used to be. And we're like, that's weird. And then it would happen once, and then we would pick it up and throw it away. And then the next day it would show up. And then we're like, what? I'm like, I think this is a thing. I think now she's providing water. And next thing you know, the next day it's water and food. And now we start the surveillance system again. We got the iPad going. We got the trail cam fired up. So we were able to isolate. So now I'm away on the golf trip. And we were able to, which was last week, and we were able to isolate it to between like 10:30 and 11:30 when the drop off happened. So what happened is I went away. My girlfriend was now making sure she was staying awake because we know what the car is. The trail cam was able to catch exactly which car it is. So instead of like being this black Ford, like we know what it looks like. We've seen the lady get out of the car, drop the water dish, and drop some food. So like we've got her dead to rights. So now all of a sudden there's a confrontation. Finally, what we wanted, but I was not here for it. So my girlfriend goes and confronts this lady, and this lady is hysterical because my girlfriend's like, "You have to stop doing this. You're attracting coyotes. Pets in the neighborhood are in danger. All these cats you think you're feeding, you're actually harming. We've got video footage of coyotes trying to attack these cats, and there's no stray cats here. The cats you're feeding are from this apartment, this house. Like we know where all the cats are because they always try to use our house as a litter box. So we know where they all are. So like you're not helping. You're hurting the community." And she's like, "You don't know this." And my girlfriend and her got in a complete tell-off, and then she sped away. And then the next day she came and a second confrontation happened. So we're trying to muffle her out of here. So it's getting real personal, and I can't wait because I'm going to be there for the next one. But in the meantime, what happened is outside of these confrontations, I got bad news for the Stepankos. We caught on our video surveillance someone circle by our house in the alley, see the trail cam set up, bike past it, circle back, and then steal it. Stepankos, we owe you a trail camera. Thank you for using it. We were able to catch our lady and put the pressure on her, and hopefully it's enough for her not to come back. But now we're checking every time between 10:30 and 11:30 if she's coming by, and we're going to keep confronting her to keep feeling her uncomfortable. But she's like this 60-year-old lady who thinks she's Snow White saving everyone.
I mean,
I can beat her up, Jay.
Yeah, and I have a suspect in mind who stole the trail cam.
Yeah.
It's not her. It was this dude on a bike. We watched the whole thing. We watched the bike by, stop in front of it, look at it, and there was like kind of like a car on the street. So we'll say like there's a witness, and then he biked away. That car left. He looped back, went, stopped, gone.
So you know what this guy looks like?
No, because we were catching it from the iPad, which was like really far away. So the trail cam is what records really close to the scene of the crime. And then the iPad's like an extra layer, so in case it's too close, we can kind of see from afar what's happening. Because we want to know where this lady is, which direction she's coming from, where she's driving to. Like we wanted to try to establish those habits, and that's what the iPad was for. So we got really, really detailed on this, and it's amazing. We've gone this far from an unknown thing to now we have looked this lady in the eyes and have told her to stop kindly.
I'm interested to see where this continues to go. Alley updates.
If there's one thing I know about senior women and senior citizens in general, they love listening.
And they're horny.
Oh, so horny. Oh, my God. Okay. That was Tyler Yumchuck, everyone. All right.
And you're going to try and pretend like you're not into your words with friends, mama? Like, get out of here.
He knows exactly what he's doing. We're being told the other side, the other story, not the real story.
I sent you the chat. I never respond.
I bet if I look
we don't know how many games you have going with her. That's 1,000 chat in one game.
And I bet if I look at your internet history, I know what categories you're browsing through.
Words with friends with benefits?
Mm-hmm.
That's a good name for the title of the podcast, although we did spend 40 minutes yelling about the Oilers, so maybe something about that would drive up the downloads a bit more.
Oh, I don't think it matters. No one's listening.
Fair enough. We are over 200 in, and we're only halfway to figuring out what we actually are as a podcast.
Oh, I know what we are.
Okay, the last thing I wanted to say today. This story might be my favorite story I'm going to see in the next month. The Seattle Seahawks cut rookie cornerback Kamas Siverand this week after he was caught on video trying to sneak a female visitor into the hotel. It gets better. Not only is that a clear message to everyone, it's against NFL protocol, basically, right? Because their players are supposed to be quarantining at these hotels and all that. They add, the woman was wearing Seahawks gear in an attempt to disguise her as a player.
What? Who's that? Oh, that's just an offensive lineman. Nothing to worry about here.
Wait a second. No, it's not. And yeah, he got busted. But I would love to know the conversation leading up to that. Like, is he messaging this girl being like, hey, baby, come to the team hotel? And she's like, aren't you afraid I'm going to get caught? And he goes, no, just put your hair into this hat and wear a Seahawks hoodie. There's no way they'll ever figure it out.
No way, Remchuk. How that started was words with friends. He hit her with a happy fucking 4th of July. Next thing you know, well, bam!
Like Fred Durst, he did it all for the nookie.
Yeah, so anyways, that
that's
story is good.
Funny.
We haven't had any of that out of the NHL, though. No NHL players getting busted sneaking in Tinder girls into the bubble.
I don't know, man.
Did you see that one video, though, yesterday? That girl was trying to FaceTime Sagan while he was in the press conference. You can see him look at his phone.
Seriously?
Yeah.
How? Well, that's very good. That's hilarious.
That's a screen recording for TikTok, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no kidding.
That's just a big thing happening on TikTok right now. There's a lot of people screen recording and uploading videos to TikTok of their conversation.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. Sorry,
of the sexiest?
Like DM slides, sexiness, you name it. It's going up on TikTok.
All right.
Is it banned in the States now?
I don't know.
Microsoft's got like 14 days to buy it or some weird shit.
Come on, Bill Gates. We know you love to dance.
Oh, it ain't Bill. Bill's busy.
Oh, yeah. He's got.
Bill's busy trying to put a chip in all of our brains. He doesn't have time to build TikTok strategies.
Like, have people thought that maybe they're not worth a chip in their brain?
There are very few people who I'd want to chip in the brain of.
You'd want to chip in your Words with Friends with Benefits brain, I bet, to know where all the words come from.
Probably. She's on like a 2-match winning streak right now. I'm determined to.
Oh, she's wooing you with her game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Why don't you just be a man about it and give her Chalmers' information and say, text me?
Oh, fuck.
And then Chalmers will be like, I have no idea why this person texted me out of fucking left field.
Oh, that'd be pretty good because there's no way Chalmers is going back and listening to this podcast to find out the backstory.
God, no. Someone will snitch for sure online, though.
You know what? Let's open this up to the listeners. How should I handle my Words with Friends girlfriend? Should
Send nudes. It's very easy.
There is no option on that for Words with
Friends. Oh,
Friends.
really? You couldn't send her your email and say, I've got something for you after all this time? But bam, nude.
I'm not going to do that.
But they're just tasteful. As long as they're tasteful.
Shout out to Mother Seducer who sent me via email
I'm sorry, what's the name?
Mother Seducer is his name.
How apt. Go on.
He sent me an email titled Tasteful Nuge, and it was just a nice picture of Ryan Nugent-Hopkins.
Well, I like that.
I appreciate
you can send those to me anytime.
Yeah.
What is his name again?
Mother Seducer.
Wife Seducer?
I think he listens.
Seducer.
Yeah, I see him text into the radio station once in a while, actually. Yeah, I think that's how he signs it, Mother Seducer.
Mm.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it, guys. That was a wild episode. All right.
I'm down.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Just wanted to double check with everyone. As always,
I feel more at peace. I feel more at peace that I got this off my chest. One of my buddies texted me after last episode saying that he expected more of a rant about the Oilers. And I was like, you know what, dude? You're right. But I was coming off a 9-day bender. I was exhausted. I was just kind of going through the motions. So I didn't have many emotions in me at the time. But now I'm well rested, rehydrated, and I felt like it was important to come at them with some heat today.
Besides, this is a Big Brother podcast now anyway.
Oh, we didn't talk Big Brother. Well,
I just can't believe, let me just say this. What an idiot for not buzzing in when he had 19.
Yes, thank you.
Like, what are you thinking?
Come on, man. Get it
together.
There
was like 30 seconds left, and he thought that Keisha could do more than that? Like, lock in the W, bro. Like, that guy is... That guy's unstable. Like, that guy just falls apart at the seams in a blink of an eye. Like, so I have a feeling because he's so up and down that he can't be trusted, and he might be the one that goes.
Jesus Christ, we're going to get a phone call during the podcast.
Well, podcast's pretty much over here. We'll break down Big Brother on Monday's episode. So we'll do Big Brother talk.
Will you, though, Tyler? Will you actually watch it so we can have a constructive conversation about the show we love?
I promise you that on Monday.
The Oilers are out of the playoffs. Yep. There's nothing else to watch on television.
Here's what you can look forward to on Monday's episode. Probably 20 minutes of real nonsense, 15 minutes of Big Brother talk, 15 minutes of our gambling chat with Scott Hastings from Oddshark. And there you go. Monday's show's ready to go. All right.
Okay, I'll believe it when I see it. I'll be ready. I'll tell you that much.
Monday's show will be brought to you by Japa. And you know what? Today's show was also brought to you by Japa Machinery. Check them out online, japamachinery.com. Twitter and Instagram as well. Check us out. Wow. On Twitter and Instagram as well at The Real Life Podcast. Let me know what I should do with my Words with Friends girlfriend. Let us know what you want us to talk about over the next few months. Yeah, maybe. There might be some inheritance in there for me, honestly. Let us know what we should be talking about on the podcast as well. Appreciate you listening and all of that. Enjoy your weekend. This has been the Real Life Podcast. I'm Tyler Remchuk. Enjoy your weekend.
Great job on making it through the entire hour of the Real Life Podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe wherever you get your podcast from.